Oh, yeah. Good morning. It is Saturday morning. Good morning, everybody. It's that beat gets you going. It can't help but wake you up and get you ready to roll on a Saturday morning. Welcome to the Real Deal Sports Show. It's the Red Man and company. We'll be on today talking sports of all sorts for the next hour. We're going to get it in, talking a lot of sports of all sorts. There's a lot of things happening. But first thing, as always, what we do during the month of March, women's history. And today's women's history is on Maya Shaka and Remisi Shaka, two sisters born and raised right here in Rochester, New York. Maya Shaka, the first African-American woman referee, has been a referee for this past season in the National Football League. Started out at the Boys and Girls Club growing up, playing basketball over there. And I happened to play basketball right in my backyard over here in the 19th Ward. Used to do a thing on the basketball court. Grown all up now, went to Norfolk State, graduated, special ed teacher there in the Virginia School District area, and now an NFL referee. She refereed throughout the years going by in the USA Conference Football Conference. She's been refereeing a long time. She paid her dues. That's the key. Pay your dues. You got to pay your dues in life, everybody. You just can't. It's not where you start. It's where you finish. And she's finishing strong, rolling with the National Football League. We salute Maya Shaka, and we also salute her older sister, Remisi Shaka, on doing a fine job as the special events coordinator with the DC Commanders, not the DC Commanders, the DC Defenders of the XFL Football League. She's been a special events planner for many years, worked for many organizations, including the Democratic Party, doing their designs and things at their national conventions. She's the lady behind the scenes that make it happen with the designs, the layout of the facility, how great the place looks. Remisi Shaka, you're doing a great job. And now she's special events. She sets up all the special events for the football team of the XFL. They had a great opening night when she had the Howard Marching Band perform. Had a great entertainment there. Had everything set up for the fans, for the VIPs, the whole 9 yards. So our salute for Women's History Month, Remisi and Maya Shaka, two great sisters that are doing things, born and raised Rochester, New York, and doing things throughout the country. And you get to see them on TV doing their thing. So we salute them this week as our Women in History Month. Keep up the great work, ladies. Y'all keep doing your thing and keep it, making it happen. And also one other one, as we close out the month, I want to add one more. Buffalo's Mary B. Talbert, National Anti-Lynching Crusader, a Women's History Month salute. I did not know. Reading this week's Challenger Community News, the Challenger, one of the sponsors of the show, read the Challenger Community News, thechallengernews.com, or you can pick up the Challenger at most businesses in the community. Read about Women's History Month salute. Buffalo's Mary B. Talbert. I did not know she was the first one to put an anti-lynching bill into the Senate, into Congress, way back in the day. So you got to read up on this Mary B. Talbert. She was serious. She was no nonsense. She was trying to stop that lynching way back in the day. She was one of our finest representatives. So Mary B. Talbert, Maya Shaka, Remisi Shaka, we salute you three women, three great women. But Mary B. Talbert, great Mary B. Talbert, we salute you as well for this month. And remember, you can pick up the Challenger at most locations in the community. Also, thechallengernews.com. Pick it up weekly, read it. We got a lot of great articles in this week's Challenger, as always. Mary Evans responds to different actions here in Rochester. USA Today Woman of the Year actually is Karina Morris, a Buffalo's own Karina Morris. She gets the national honor of USA Today Women of the Year. She was named that recently. So check out the paper. You got from front to back, back to front, middle to front to end. You're going to read all about African-American news on a weekly basis. So keep going, and we keep it going with you, and we keep things happening with Challenger Community News. And I also want to give a shout out to Jeff the Ref, Rochester's own Jeff the Ref. He was on the scene the other night for that overtime game of Michigan State and Kansas State. Man, what a hell of a game. Two New York City guards came back to New York. They came back to the Garden, and they turned it out. A 98-96 final score in overtime. Kansas State, those two guards got down. If you missed it, go on YouTube or go somewhere and see highlights of this game. Jeff the Ref, He had a lot of critical calls in overtime that he had to deal with. So you saw him on the screen looking at the replays because those kids were playing so fast and so furious on that court. And congratulations to Kansas State for winning in overtime, and good luck to them because it's not easy. It's not easy winning in the NCAA tournament, and we're gonna get into more NCAA tournament later on in the show. But next, we're gonna get into the NFL, the Buffalo Bills. What people ask me, what you gonna say about the Bills this week, Brad? Man, oh man, I saw people out and about the last couple of days. Hey, I got some good things to say about the Bills this morning. You hear that? I got some good things to say about the Buffalo Bills today. Trent Sherfield, they brought him in. They signed him from the Miami Dolphins. He's a special teams player, but he's also a pretty good receiver. He's an up and coming wide receiver. And his spot. We're gonna play a quick soundbite from my interview, asking a few questions of Trent Sherfield. And this interview is brought to you by Burgos Tax Services. Check out Burgos Tax for those tax services. It's that time of the year, time to get those taxes in, time to get them done, and make sure that it's your time of the year to get the taxes done from Burgos Tax Services. And now let's go to the interview with Trent Sherfield. Trent, George Redden, Challenger Community News. How you doing this afternoon?
Great, George. How you doing, man? It's good to see you.
Great, same here. And coming from Miami, coming from almost a timing type offense, what type of adjustment do you foresee working with a more traditional passer like a Josh Allen from a Tua, which seemed to be more on a timing type schemes?
I think that honestly, just always the play is never over. I mean, you see that all the time, with Josh, and I think that his ability to be able to extend plays. I think that for me, just being able to just be ready to make sure that to be off schedule. I may run my route and it might not be there, but I can never assume that the play is just over. I think that would probably be the biggest transition is that once my route is over, it's like, okay, the ball's not coming. It's like, where's Josh? Find Josh, and then find open space and be ready to make a play for him. And honestly, just sticking to who I am, sticking to my routine, sticking to, the process. Obviously, all the things that I've kind of been through is, it's adversity, but everybody goes through something. This is just my story. And so, I think that just sticking to, my routine, sticking to, my process, how I work, just finding those little details of, getting better, just never being complacent. Maybe came into this league as an undrafted free agent. And, going on my 6th year, never been on practice squad, never been cut or anything like that. And it's not to, knock anybody on practice squad or anything like that, but just a blessed, opportunity and unfortunate. And, some of that goes to, my routine, and how I go about my business, work ethic and everything like that. So, yeah, I think that fits right in with this culture. I got to sit down and talk with Coach McDermott for a little while. It was a great conversation. I just think that this is a place, for me to thrive in. This is, what's in my DNA is all around this building. So,
hey, there you have it. That was Trent Sherfield. Excellent young man coming in, 6 years in the league. And remember, this was brought to you by Burgos Income Tax, 1816 North Clinton Avenue. Call 266-2680. Over 30 years of tax experiences. He did the taxes over in accounting over at Rochester Products. Hey, if it was good enough for Rochester Products, it's good enough for the Rad Man. He's doing my taxes as well. So let him do yours. Get you that refund, or if you owe some money, hey, he'll help soften the blow a little bit. He knows the ins and outs of the tax business. Burgos Income Tax, 1816 North Clinton Avenue. Call area code 585-266-2680. Over 30 years of being in business. JGillz, welcome to the Real Deal Sports Show. JGillz, how you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, Rad Man, and good morning, Real Deal Sports Show. Man, oh my God, what a crazy week in sports. I know we're talking NFL right now, but 2 #1 seeds getting knocked out in the tournament. I know you're going to cover that later. And then, of course, the Lakers creeping up to the 8th seed. There's so much going on in sports. But, yeah, to go back to your point, Rad Man, the NFL, Trent Sherfield, he came from the Miami Dolphins, one of the teams that I cover. And, he's a phenomenal player. He had his most productive season this past year under Mike McDaniel. We can all remember that huge game against the San Francisco 49ers. He caught that bomb touchdown. So that just goes to show you the speed. He could definitely blow the top off of defense. When we look at the Buffalo Bills receiving room, I think he's going to be a great addition. I think the Bills are just trying to keep up right now with the AFC East and those receivers. We look at the Jets and their receiving room, getting Allen Lazard. They got the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson. Not to mention, when you talk about OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., notably about to be getting signed to the Jets as soon as Aaron Rodgers gets on board. And then, of course, Miami with those two dynamic receivers, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. But when I look at Sheffield, I think that he can definitely be productive in Buffalo. I'm not sure how productive he's going to be under Ken Dorsey. And that's another question. Ken Dorsey hasn't shown that he's able to have an NFL offense that is shown to do anything. His offense was very stagnant, very flat. I'm not sure if Trent Sheffield will boost to that. But we're going to go into the rumor report because it's rumored that DeAndre Hopkins may be joining the Buffalo Bills. So if anything, Sheffield being a fourth receiver under Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and a presumed D-Hop, I think that Sheffield will be a great addition to the room.
I think so, but don't be surprised if Stephon Diggs is traded as part of a deal for DeAndre Hopkins. I'm hearing some rumors on the side. I would not be surprised if Stephon Diggs is traded for DeAndre Hopkins, which to me is a even up deal. I'll take somebody, DeAndre Hopkins. I think the Buffalo Bills organization is sick and tired of Stephon Diggs showing out, cussing out his quarterback on the sideline, making all kinds of comments in the media. I think that's what's behind some of this notion here, because you're hearing more and more about D-Hop possibly coming to Buffalo. And with that salary that he commands a $20 million a year salary, just like Stephon Diggs. So you can't have two receivers making $20 million on your starting lineup, especially when a team is in cap debt like the Buffalo Bills are. They're not like the Chicago Bears. The Bills already up there trying to win a Super Bowl. So I would not be surprised if Stephon Diggs is traded for DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona as compensation to the Arizona Cardinals in a deal that could be happening real soon. So keep an eye out on that one. And also, we have an interview with Damien Harris. We're going to go to this interview with Damien Harris, the former running back with the New England Patriots. Backspin, if you could cue that one up. Damien, George Red, the Challenger Community News. How you doing this afternoon?
Man, I couldn't be any better. How are you?
Good. You look like you're happy to be in Buffalo. And my first question
is it the smile that gives it away? Or
yeah, it's the smile, enthusiasm, and everything. Look like you can't wait for training camp to start in the whole 9 yards.
You said it, not me.
All right. My first question is, when you looking at the different teams and did the Bills and talking to Buffalo, do they? Obviously, they can't guarantee you a certain amount of carries, but is it some idea that, hey, you will be a part of the offense, or an important part of the offense coming this upcoming season?
Well, first and foremost, I don't think I'm here for no reason. I think I know why I'm here, and I think this organization knows why I'm here, and I think that Bills fans know why I'm here. But I know that everything I get in this organization, I'm going to have to earn from right now until the end. I'm going to have to earn everything that I get. I'm going to have to earn every carry that I get. I'm going to have to earn every opportunity to step on the field and, show the world that I can do my job and play for this organization. So I know that that's what it's going to be. And, I'm looking forward to showing up every day and doing everything that I can to prove myself and to also, like I said, do everything I can to help this organization be successful.
Absolutely. Second question. Do you think the position is undervalued overall, across the league overall? Because when I was growing up, O.J. Simpson and the guy, they were the stars. The running backs were the quarterbacks of the game today. When the quarterbacks are the stars today, do you think the position is still undervalued league-wide for the running backs?
I think that's a relative question. Because if you ask me, I think it's one of the most important positions on the field. So to me, it's not undervalued. I mean, opinions across the league. I mean, you can say some people think so, some people think not. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's got a job to do, and my job is to show up and play running back. And that's what I'm going to do, regardless if somebody thinks that I'm undervalued or people like me too much. It doesn't really matter. It's just about the fact that I got a job. And that's to be the best running back that I can be, the best teammate that I can be. Transition to being one of the better leaders that I can be, and again, just doing everything that I can to help this team be successful.
Absolutely. Last but not least, I'm a fan of the running game. I grew up with the running backs being the
I
stars.
can tell.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're here. And do you prefer inside the tackle running, or outs? You don't mind jumping into the outside? And what Sure, because I know you Alabama guys, you Derrick Henry, you guys like, pounding that football, pounding that inside.
It don't matter to me. It really does not matter to me. Whatever, my job is to, like I said, go out there and play. It's not to call plays. It's not to talk about, coach, I want to run this player. I want to do that. I'm here because I trust this organization, and they're always going to put us in the best situation to be successful as players. So, I don't have a preference. Whatever Coach Dorsey calls up, whatever they call up, I'm gonna run it, and I'm gonna do the best of my ability.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, and look forward to seeing you at training camp. Welcome to Buffalo. Welcome to the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, sir.
All right. And as you can hear, JGillz, Damien Harris was talking about the coming to Buffalo. Very excited, coming from the New England Patriots. So he's coming to a more offensive team. The only drawback I have with him currently is that he's only played in 38. He's been in the league 4 years. You play 16 games a year back then. Now you play 17, and he's only played 38 games in 4 years. JGillz, is that a sign of a concern right there?
I think that could be exciting concern, but when I look at Damien Harris, I haven't seen that on this Bills roster since Josh Allen has been there. This type of running back, Devin Singletary, 5'7", 200 pounds, very small. James Cook, he's a little bigger, but he's very agile. Damien Harris is a bruiser. Damien Harris he's going to be complemented great with the James Cook. Hopefully they will start to run the ball. Ken Dorsey will start to run the ball in between the tackles, like you talked about in your interview, because that now they can actually do that. They didn't have that with Najee Hines. They didn't have that with Devin Singletary, nor did they have that with James Cook. So he'll be a great complimentary back. If you look what he did in the Patriots, I mean, even though he didn't play that many games, he's still good for 10 to 12 touches a game. He's averaging 4.5 yards a carry. So I think that he'll be a great addition to the running back room. And I think that he'll give the Bills some sort of running identity. They still probably could draft a back in the draft just to bolster that roster. Another guy from Alabama, Jalen Gibson from Alabama, would be a great addition to the room because right now I think they only have 3 running backs under contract, so they're going to want to get more depth in that area. But I definitely like his fit with the team, and he'll definitely give them more of a rushing identity.
I agree with you. I think he will give a little more identity. But the ironic thing is, on paper, JGillz, he looks to be the better running back. He's physical, and he has the speed. He has breakaway speed, too. But in reality of the games, Devin Singletary didn't hardly miss any games, and he has much more rushing yards than Damien Harris, and that's true because he played more games. He played almost all 64 games that was on the schedule, where this Damien Harris played only 38 games. So it's the key. Can he play without injury? With the Bills set up, he's going to be asked to run the ball. Maybe not asked to run as much as he ran in New England, but they definitely going to have to give the rock to him, Haim Hines, as well as James Cook. And I agree with you. They probably bring somebody in, bring some guys in via undrafted free agents or somebody in the draft. Because now it looks like they're probably going to go back to defense, get some linemen, get some defensive linemen, because they also brought in David Edwards on the offensive line. He's another guy, played in the Super Bowl, played most of the games, but last year he only played 4 games due to a concussion. He said he's healed up from the concussion. If David Edwards can go, I have him at guard. I would cut Mitch Morse. I'll cut Mitch Morse before training camp and move Ryan Bates over to center. Connor McGovern be your other guard. And then you got Ike Buckner as one of your backups. And that you're really going to strengthen your offensive line. You get a little bit younger. And you got to have – and you don't want 2 or 3 guys with serious concussion issues. Mitch Morse has concussion issues. David Edwards coming off a concussion where he only played 4 games last season. That's why the Rams let him go. He's a good player, but can he stay on the field? That's what you do get. It's just like a car. You get a used car, you don't know who is driving it, and you hope it wasn't a program car that you buying at the used car dealership. You don't know how many miles. You don't know how people treated that vehicle. That's the same thing with NFL players. These guys come with some tread loss, some wear and tear, as they say. So these guys picking up. I like Sherfield, though, as the best right now. I think he can really come in and help that offense, not only on special teams, but he can as a receiver. Because in that he set a record for your Miami Dolphins the first time they ever scored 10 seconds into a football game. against the San Francisco 49ers. It only took him 10 seconds to score a touchdown in that game. And the guy has speed. He has speed. He can run routes. And as he said, Josh Allen, he could just run around and just come back to help out and give Josh Allen the target as he's running around back there looking to throw the ball. So I think he already has an idea of what he needs to do as a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I definitely agree with that. But to your statement on the offensive line, I mean, I think Brandon Beane needs to do a better job at drafting and developing his linemen. In an old interview, I heard him say that he builds the line off of 2 or 3 foundational pieces, Mitch Morris, Deion Dawkins, and then try to fill in the gap through free agency. And that just hasn't been working for him. Whether it was Roger Saffold, you know what I mean? Whether it was the Quinsonberry from Tennessee, those guys aren't doing it. So I think he needs to do a better job at drafting, developing his offensive line, because Josh Allen's going to be running for his life soon if they don't get it together. If we're talking about Mitch Morris, them trying to cut Mitch Morris, that's been his center throughout his whole starting career. So I think that Brandon Beane needs to find some sort of continuity with that offensive line, and they need to start the draft.
Yeah, how about drafting a center? I mean, you know, it's the good teams with the really good offensive lines, they drafted their center. They don't go get a journeyman center that then play for other teams and have all kinds of injuries. Draft a center, draft a guard center as well. They really should draft a guard center as well to fill out that offensive line. You don't want to you get these guys with concussion. That's why David Edwards was available, because he only played 4 games last year because he must have had severe concussions to miss most of the season. And you got Mitch Morris. He's on concussion protocol. He left it before the end of the season with concussions again. Who knows how many concussions he's had? I would definitely change my center. Get younger at the center position. Draft me a guard center. Most teams draft a guard center. Brandon Beane doesn't seem to get it. I don't get why. If you see the successful teams draft a guard, what I mean is a player who can play the guard position as well as the center position. They can play multiple positions. Those guys get drafted right away. Why won't you, Brandon Beane, get some guys instead of getting these journeyman guys year after year after year? And you're absolutely right, JGillz. He doesn't seem to know how to put together an offensive line, a quality offensive line. And he's struggling now with the defensive line. You got an A.J. Espinosa. He's a straight-up bust, man.
He's a bust. But right, man, we do got to give him credit, because right now the Bills, they have some big news coming up. They have a chance to go ahead. They're hosting free agent Calais Campbell right now on Wednesday. That'll be a huge addition to that Bills defensive line. Another savvy veteran to go along with Von Miller, Ed Oliver and them. Those guys, Greg Rousseau. And if it doesn't pan out with one of those young guys like an AJ Epinesa, you know what I mean, you can let him go, because Calais Campbell seems to be having to retire the last 3 years, but he always seems to make it back into the league. So you might get him for a good year or 2 years, you know what I mean, especially with Von Miller in the fold. So I think that addition could be huge for the Buffalo Bills defensive line and the defense, pending what we see with the new defensive coordinator. When they name the new defense coordinator, hopefully it could be Eric Washington, because that's another big loss with Leslie Frazier. We don't know what that defense is going to look like. A lot of key pieces still being there, but a lot of key pieces being lost in coaching and on the field with Tremaine Edmonds. So, but I just want to give Bills fans a little bit of hope. You know, you got Campbell's coming in.
He's another injury-prone guy. He missed a lot of games with the Ravens. It's a reason why a lot of these guys are free agents, because it's good things about them and they're bad things. Calais Campbell is getting long in the tooth there from Jacksonville to the Ravens. He has some injuries coming through. Calais Campbell is a good player. I hope we'll see what he can do. If the Bills can sign him, and you already have Jaquan Jones at the nose guard, and you saw what happened when we missed him in the Cincinnati game. They started giving up the run. But if Jaquan Jones, he's still under contract for 2 years, so the Bills gonna keep Jaquan Jones. You bring up Calais Campbell, you're right. That does that's a difference maker, because
with Von, both of them on that side. I mean, my God.
Yeah, and Von comes back around Thanksgiving. You figure Von will come back after Thanksgiving, most likely, because it's gonna take a while to rehab that torn ACL, and then use them sparingly. You don't have to use them every play. Keep Von Miller ready. You want Von Miller for the end of the critical games toward the end of the season in the playoffs. And Calais Campbell too. He has a lot of hamstring and leg injuries and things that kept him out the lineup with the Ravens as well. So he's a guy that the Bills could bring in. It's a good move. And remember, the Bills were just 13 seconds away of playing in the championship game 2 years ago. So this organization has done a good job with forming this team for the short run. They're just not putting them out. They want to win now, which is good. You got the quarterback. You want to win now. Now his salary coming into play. So now you're backloading his money. So it's going to be interesting to see how this transpires down the road, JGillz. I think you're going to see the Bills continue to bring in guys. But right now, I like the guys he's bringing in. He's bringing in quality guys. Hopefully they can stay healthy, and they will be able to help this team out because they definitely need some help. Calais Campbell, Boogie Basham is doing decent there. Ed Oliver, you got to talk to Ed. What you going to do about his fifth year? Are you going to sign him? Are you going to sign him for his money? You got a lot of guys coming under contract. And once again, JGillz, I bring up, why in the world would you sign Dawson Knox to a big-time contract when you got all these other contracts coming, much more important contracts than Dawson Knox? Dawson Knox is not Kittles. He's not Kelsey. Why would you sign him to that kind of money, JGillz?
I'm not sure. I think it's more of a homegrown thing when I look at Brandon Beane. Bills fans love him. Bills media loves Dawson Knox. I don't get it. The production's not there. Doesn't match the finances. If you ask me, you look at a guy like Mike Gesicki, much better tight end. His market only commanded, I think, $8 million this season as at the tight end spot. Last year he got franchised for $10 million. So I mean, $18 million in 2 years. That's averaging about $9 million a year. So that's more of a suitable contract for a tight end of that stature. And when you talk about tight ends in the league, you only got it's about three you can go with. You got your George Kittles, you got your top Travis Kelce's, of course, and then you got your Mark Andrews. If it's not one of those guys, if he's not a number one target, a number one option on the offense, he shouldn't be getting paid nowhere near the money that he's getting paid. And I think that's a Brandon Beane issue. He wants the homegrown tight end, and that he needs to get that figured out, especially when you look at the time they gave him a contract, which was last year?
Yeah, last year. Yeah, right after his brother had suddenly passed away there at Florida Atlantic, about a couple weeks after that.
When you look at the projection,
middle of the season.
When you start the future, I mean, you see the tight ends coming out the draft this year. You know what I'm saying? You have phenomenal tight ends, first-round tight ends. Darnell Washington out of Georgia, dude out of Notre Dame. And then going into next year, you got the huge tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia. I mean, the tight ends have been playing phenomenal. You could easily go and draft a tight end. I don't understand why they're putting their money into this. I mean, his decision-making over the past couple of years has been terrible. You could have did the fifth-year option with Josh Allen. You paid him early, wasting money. Then you trade for Diggs, guarantee that money with the re-signing him. And then you go spend $80 million on Von Miller. I just don't get it with Brandon Beane. And, they call him a genius, but clearly the guy's paying attention. We know Brandon's no genius.
No, wake up. Real Deal Sports Show. He's not a genius on this show. I mean, when I saw Gesicki get picked up by New England, I looked and said, wait a minute. That's a quality, viable tight end he's more of a wide receiver than a tight end. You could have cut Dawson Knox and brought in Gesicki because Gesicki's not a blocking tight end. He's a much better upgrade from Dawson Knox.
Absolutely. And he's had some of his best games against the Bills.
Yeah. So it's a head scratcher to why would you just take Gesicki and cut Dawson Knox and bring him in and then draft you? It's loaded in this draft. Get you a quality blocking tight end out of the draft. You have Quentin Morris. Quentin Morris is becoming a better blocker. You have him on the roster. So draft another tight end, get rid of Dawson Knox, and that money you paying Dawson Knox, you could have paid a couple other guys. I mean, you might have had a chance to get Tremaine Edmonds. But that Von Miller deal really botched that up totally. That botched up that deal. So Brandon Beane is not the genius people calling him, man. Or what that guy calling the burglar or something. He's starting to rob his own self now, man. He ain't no burglar from taking quality guys from other teams, especially when you're paying mediocre guys like Dawson Knox, and that's what he is. He's mediocre. He's not.
For the listeners, listen. I mean, Dawson Knox. For those of you, 4 years, $52 million, $30 million guaranteed. You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds almost like the Orlando Brown deal the 4 years, $60 million. Come on now, that sounds to me like you're paying him left tackle money.
Yeah.
You're paying him second market left tackle money, and he's a bottom of the barrel tight end. Come on, Brandon Beane, what's up with you, man?
And the problem with the Bills organization is the ownership. Kim and Terry Pagula aren't football people. They're good people. They're nice people. They're doing a good job with Buffalo overall with their businesses and the whole 9 yards. And we hope a speedy recovery for Kim Pagula too. I'm just wondering who's above these two head coaches, above Beane and McDermott, that could tell them, yo, man, we're not paying this Dawson Knox. But how much? $30 million guaranteed? $52 million?
Come on.
What we paying? Man, that's good. Man, I walked Brandon Beane. I thought, man, you fired, man. Ralph Wilson would have fired him behind some mess like that. Said, don't even just to come there even ask Ralph Wilson about paying some tight end, a mediocre tight end. And he had about
$10 million signing bonus. $10 million just to sign the contract this year. What is you doing? What are you doing?
Man, wake up, man. It's something wrong here, man. Something ain't right, man. Something's not right, man. Because that's and you wonder why the Bills are in cap trouble because of bogus deals like this. And then the other mistake he made, like you mentioned earlier, he paid Josh Allen a year early. You didn't even have to pay him until the next year. Why are you paying Josh Allen a year early? That's ridiculous. You're trying to win football games. It takes 52 players to win. You can't just go. That's why this season he got to bring in guys that that their tire tread is getting lower, thinner and thinner. Guys that have concussion problems, but good players. David Edwards, a good player coming in from the Rams. Good player. He replaced Roger Saffold when he came to the Rams, so now he's going to probably replace him when he come here. Connor McGovern coming in. He was injury prone as well. Most of you guys have injury situations, except Trent Sherfield. He's about the best one I've seen. And Deontay Hardy coming in from this wide receiver coming in from the New Orleans Saints. But you can't pay a mediocre tight end, $30 million guaranteed, $10 million signing bonus, $52 million, 4 years. Are you crazy? And the man production dropped off like we knew it would because he's not that good. He can't block, and he can't block. He's not an offense that
could easily showcase, his abilities. Gabe Davis was the only second option, and he didn't turn out to what we thought he would be. Devin Singletary didn't bring him back. Isaiah McKenzie didn't bring him back. Dawson Knox is one of the only continuity pieces that's still on this roster from last season, and he wouldn't even get involved in the offense. So right. I don't understand it. Brandon Beane, I don't want to bring race into it, but it seems like it's always those type of players that always find their guaranteed contracts and guaranteed monies. You got a tight end getting $30 million guaranteed, totally different position. Then you got a guy like Lamar Jackson who can't even slip a contract out of 32 teams. Come on now. And he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. It's just unbearable to watch sometimes.
It really is. It seems like the white guys get their money without any arguments. I mean, Daniel Jones, he got it. Now he's another mediocre guy, mediocre quarterback. Man, he got big time money. And now Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He's not known for his passing ability. He's known because he got some legs on him. He got some wheels on him. He can move. I mean, who doesn't remember a couple years ago that breakaway speed, and he ended up falling over before he can get in the touchdown, man. You know what I'm saying? Remember that 60-yard run, and just his helmet was too heavy, and then he trampled over himself. Couldn't even get it in the end zone. Then you got a guy like Lamar Jackson, who's literally a video game. And Daniel Jones getting $45 million a year. It's just unbearable.
It is. It's unbearable how these teams are not, like you said, when it's time for the black man to get paid, oh, man, you got a question and all got an option and all this. It's a lot of questions. They don't get paid right away. I mean, come on. This is just ridiculous. Look at Deshaun Watson. Houston was trying to pay him. They were trying to make deals not to pay him and then pay him and then try to do all kinds of nonsense like that to go through that hassle. Now he's over in Cleveland. You got a lot of guys around the league but the Ravens, when Lamar Jackson had the MVP season, he should have got paid after that season. When he was MVP of the league, that's when the Ravens should have paid him. And that was well before the Deshaun Watson contract. So they would have saved money, even though they would have paid him more money at that time. They would have paid less than what they're fully guaranteed that Deshaun Watson is getting now. So that just shows you something's going on there in Baltimore. It's something going on there really that's not right. But hey, we're going to go to the next topic. We're going to go to the college NCAA tournament. Before we go there, Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency, auto, home, health, and life insurance, 1038 Lyle Avenue or 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Give her a call. If you want to save money on auto insurance, like she saved my family a heck of a lot of money, call 585-360-0094. Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency for auto, home, health, and life insurance. I guarantee you, with not only the farmer's insurance she has, Progressive, she has some other insurances as well. She'll find the right insurance that fits you and your family's needs. So check out Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency. And now we have next, we're going into the tournament action. And we're going straight to Houston, Texas. And we have Kris Gardner. Kris Gardner with us this morning. Welcome to the Real Deal Sports Show, Kris.
Thank you, George. I'm in KC, so we can talk about last night's Miami win over Houston.
Oh, my God. Let's get right to it. What happened last night?
Nigel Pack happened last night for the Hurricanes. The young fella got hot from three-point range, 7 for 10 from three. He had a season high, 7 threes last night. Most previous was 5. Scored season high as well, 26. Previous was 24. Miami shot a season high as a team from the floor, almost 52% against Houston. So it was just their night, and it's another example of the beauty of March Madness. You know, it's one and done. It's all, you know, it doesn't matter. It's not a series. It's not 3 out of 5, 4 out of 7. It's one and done. Miami was a better team last night from the floor, and they advanced to the Elite Eight against Texas.
Wow, that's I was just surprised how much pressure Miami put on Houston, and Houston looked like they weren't ready for it, and even they seemed kind of lackadaisical. They had trouble taking the ball out of bounds at certain times. They were just sloppy.
Yeah, down the stretch, I think they were demoralized. You know, they realized their season was over, and they lost focus. They were hurt, disappointed, and they lost some focus. And then the 3-pointer that Pack hit in like a 2-minute span when Houston got within 2 and 3. Some of those threes he hit, they were like, "Oh my gosh, he made another 3. Oh, I can't believe he made that one." And you know, it was expressed on the face of the Cougar players like, "It's not our night," and you know, the season is about to end, and that's just the highs and lows of March Madness. You know, one team gets hot, and you see another team gets cold at the wrong time in the tournament, and that team goes home.
Wow, yeah, and that's what happened. That's what happened there. Any other surprises? They had a nice article in the paper on the coach, on head coach Kelvin Sampson, and sorry to hear that he lost his twin sister, I guess, recently.
Right.
Do you think that might have had any bearing on the team coming together or staying together during this time?
It brought him closer. His sister passed away before, I think it was still in the conference tournament a couple weeks ago, and initially, the very next game Houston played, I think, was that Saturday against East Carolina. Coach Sampson admitted that he wasn't at his best. I think about a Friday against East Carolina, the very first game of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you know, Coach Sampson naturally loses a close relative, loved one. His focus was not on the team, you know, 100%. And he acknowledged that he did a better job coaching after that. But the players acknowledged that it brought him closer. It helped them realize that, you know, life is precious. And so it wasn't an overall negative deterrent last night against Miami. You know, Miami was a better team last night. Houston's front court player, you know, he lost his one-on-one matchup, Juwan Roberts, against Norshad Omier. Juwan had 2 rebounds more than me and you, George.
Yeah,
you know, we didn't play. So that was another head-to-head issue that I really did believe that the winner of that head-to-head battle that team would win, and Omier won, and Miami won.
They certainly did. And did you get a chance to see any? Well, I know your game was going on the same time as the Alabama game, and it looked like Alabama and Houston was playing the same way, lethargic or not, you know, didn't have it. Because it was interesting. Alabama seemed to be a little bit more enthusiastic. It came back, took the lead, and then all of a sudden, the opponent came back and just mowed them over there. The Aztecs there at San Diego State. They just played similar to Miami, a very aggressive game.
We had a chance to look at it a little bit, you know, while the game in KC was going on, or, you know, in timeouts, things like that. But Alabama, all the type throughout the season was the talented freshman players, Brandon Miller, freshman guard, Houston has a lot of freshmen. Both teams last night lost to veteran backcourts. Experience matters. Experience counts. At some point, that talent is going to go against experience, and it happened. And for the first time ever in the history of the tournament, no number one seeds are in the Elite Eight. So it's another example of the madness of March.
It certainly is. It certainly is. With all these upsets, JGillz, you have a question?
Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about the unprecedentedness of not a number one seed being in the Elite Eight. How do you think the city of Houston, after such a successful season in a long time, is gonna respond to this? And how do you think they're gonna come back next year?
Well, fans are fans. Some fans, maybe they lost money on last night's game, whatever. Those fans are going to be more irrational, call a season a bust and things like that. Give me a break. We had fans saying that last night should have been an easy win. I guess they never saw Miami play this year. Houston went 33-4. 33-4, advanced to the Sweet 16 for the fourth straight time. Only one other program has done that more currently, and that's Gonzaga. And those fans must not have been around for the years previous to Kelvin Sampson taking over. For reaching the tournament was a pipe dream. Before Kelvin Sampson got there, it had been 33 years that Houston received an at-large berth to the tournament. Not win the conference championship. That happened once, about 15 years ago or so. But even between that, one appearance since like 84 or something like that. It's been a long, long time before Houston returned to national relevance. Coach Sampson has done that. So this season overall was a success. 33-4, did not reach the ultimate goal of getting the championship, obviously, but even get a chance to play in Houston for the Final Four. So it's a disappointment, but in no way, shape, or form is it a bust of a season. No way, no how.
That's
and
good.
then the second part, moving forward to next year, and I know it's with the transfer portal and the draft and players leaving and going, it's kind of tough to future, project. But what do you think the future holds for the Cougars?
As a simple answer is as long as Kelvin Sampson in charge, he'll be fine. Jarris Walker last night declared for the draft officially, which all of us knew he's going to be one and done. When he committed to Houston, he's going to be one and done. He's a lottery pick, projected as high as possibly 5 in the NBA draft in June. Marcus Sasser is the senior, so this is his last game for Houston last night as well. So those two guys that got replaced, one of them was an All-American, the other's a 5-star. So their freshmen to play this year will be sophomores. They got talent. Right. The biggest issue or concern, I guess, would be if their starters from last night's game decide to test the NBA and leave, transfer, things of that sort. But if they return, Houston's starting 5, you'll have 3 starters from this team coming back. You got your talented freshmen who played this year returning, and you got 3 or 4 of their freshman incoming class were 4-star players. So they got talent coming in. It's just a question of experience. And then who knows if some elite college player decides to transfer to Houston to fill Marcus Sasser's slot, they'll be fine. won't be worried at all, because one thing for sure, Kelvin Sampson's made the Houston Cougars a destination for top-tier talent.
Absolutely. And last but not least, who do you see now? Who you see as maybe the favorite to win it now of all the teams that are left?
UConn and Texas, I think they're playing the best. And as a Houstonian, as a Houston graduate, I hate saying, Longhorns give Longhorns credit for anything, but salute to Rodney Terry and the job he's done there. And it's time for them to give him the job, period. Yeah. I've heard in the last few days that they were having some of the big money folks having doubts about whether or not they should give him the job, remove the interim tag from him.
What?
Give the man the job. I mean, old Longhorn money believes in flash, and they don't believe in substance.
No.
So, if Rodney Terry gets to the Final Four, maybe they'll quash that.
Yeah, because I was surprised to see the interim tag on his name last night after the game when they were interviewing him after the victory. He's brought that team together. He's 22-7 since he's taken over the team. I mean, and the team is playing great. Matter of fact, I had them losing to Houston. I had them making it to tomorrow against Houston. I had Houston beating them. And then when I was looking at my bracket, I said, "Wow, man, why didn't I just take Texas all the way?" Because Texas, I knew Texas from the tournament, the way they played, that they were hitting on all cylinders. But that game tomorrow, that should be a good game, Miami, because both of them play similar styles, and I think that's going to be a real good contest. But I think Texas has enough to beat a little bit more to beat Miami in that one. I agree with you. I think Miami. I think Texas will be the national champion this year of the teams left, of what I could see. But your expert opinion, you're always on point. You like UConn as well. Hey, we appreciate you coming on the show. Kris Gardner is always there. It looked like you're there in Houston. Hey, while you're there in Kansas City, hey, stop by and see my good friend George Gates at Gates Barbecue down there on 7th and Vine, not far from the Negro League Museum.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do it. Yeah, some friends stop by the museum Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, the museum's great. And then the Blues Museum next door, too, in the same building. Oh, man, it's beautiful. That whole boulevard. And you got the Black newspaper there as well on that same boulevard. Their office is there. That's a serious strip there, 7th and Vine. Glad you're enjoying yourself in KC, but definitely let George Gates know the Rad Man says hello.
Will do. You guys take care.
Thank you, Chris. Always a pleasure talking to you, man, and learning from you.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll talk to you. Well, hopefully we'll get you on next week. All right, that was Kris Gardner, everybody, talking. And as we wrap up, as he says, it's Houston. He sounded a little down there with his team.
I was going to say the same thing. That's my boy. That's my boy, Kris Gardner, man. But he couldn't have said it better himself. 33-4. I mean, phenomenal season. It would have been great to have Houston host in the Final Four. But I think ultimately they had a great game. College, what's up with this basketball going on lately, Rad Man? No number one seeds in the Elite Eight for the first time in tournament history. You've got the Western Conference. Like I said, the Lakers are the 8th seed, but they're 2 games out of 4th place. I mean,
that's crazy.
The West, basketball is just on another level right now with the standings. It's the most unpredictable season in basketball that I've seen in years.
And this is the first. I didn't think the Lakers could win without LeBron. If somebody told me at the beginning of the season he would get injured, and now they're actually playing better than when he was there with the young. I mean, just to make that trade, that Pelinka, I gotta give hats to people. But he came under fire a lot for his trades and everything. But he made that bringing D'Angelo Russell back and that Vanderbilt. I mean, these guys, they come in and you see them energized. You see the energy. You see them playing very well. And like you're saying, they were close to not making it at all. Now they're looking like they could be in like you said, the 4th or 5th seed all of a sudden because it's a log jam of teams right there. And we got to remind people that this last segment was brought to you by Jack Green's Men's Shop, located on East Ridge Road and Hudson Street, 637 East Ridge Road. Your one-stop shopping store for great events like prom, all the graduations coming up. Get your men and women's apparel. See Frankie Diaz, my friend Frankie Diaz. He'll have you looking straight. If you want to look like a straight-up boss, he can have you looking like that. Or you want to look like corporate America, he can hook you up like that. Or if you go into a prom or a fancy function like the Mayor's Ball or some other gala throughout the spring and summer season, check out Jack Green's Men's Shop. They have all your shopping needs for men and women. JGillz, anything in closing?
Just another shout out. I mean, the Bills, like you said, you started off the show, Trent, Sherfield, and I got to give them credit because, like I said last week, when you got Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, you're going to have to come with more pressure than that. So they're going to have to do everything they can to get that thing back. Like I said, you see the Jets right now. They got Adam Lazard. They got the Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson. OBJ is destined to sign. Even Zeke Elliott saying he want to go in the green and white. So I'm not surprised. Dolphins are putting the pressure on. Right now, PFF has them ranked as the 3rd best roster in the National Football League, top to bottom. So you got to give them their credit where credit is due. And not to mention, we don't got that many draft picks. We don't got our first-round draft pick. But keep an eye out because you know what they do have? They got $13 million extra June 1st as soon as Byron Jones gets off the list. And don't be surprised if Tom Brady might try and make a run at the Dolphins if Tua has some injury. It's not surprising that they got that 5th-year option and they got that cap space clearing right at that time. If Tom Brady wants to, he already in Florida. Don't be surprised, y'all.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm thinking that same thing. I think Brady will come out of retirement and join the Dolphins. It's a no-brainer for him. Also, I want to salute the Buffalo 10. Buffalo 10, you'll never be forgotten. May 14th, 2022 will be a day of infinite me in the black community, and we will never forget the Buffalo 10. And World Baseball Classic, Japan, Otani's the real deal. Hey, look like the Dodgers are going to try to bring up the Brinks truck, back it up to Otani to take him away from the I call them the California Angels, the LA Angels. Look out, Otani. Hey, the Japan, congratulations on beating the U.S. in the World Baseball Classic. I wish they played that every other year instead of every 3 years. That is a beautiful classic. You play for your home team. I thought the Dominican Republic would win. That's who I had as my team of choice in that tournament because they were loaded. Their pitching was loaded, but they just didn't hit. Puerto Rico had ran into injury problems during the tournament, and you had Japan and the U.S. slugging it out at the end. Very good classic. A lot of good teams. A lot of countries. Those countries supplied the players. Their teams playing for your home country. It's a beautiful thing. The World Baseball Classic. Congratulations to Japan and Otani for winning that game. And we look forward next week. Backspin. Talking sports. Hey, we can't wait. We know you got it going on, Luther Vandross, and I know you're gonna have some serious rep from 10 to noon. You're gonna enlighten us with some serious music this morning.
Yes, indeed. The Back in Time Mix Show is on deck. Appreciate you, Rad Man. You too, JGillz. You know what it is, man. Shout out to the fanatic out there. Real Deal Sports Show every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. right here on the Beat 105.5. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll check back in next week.
All right, now. Take care, everybody. And remember, be a good sport.
Yes, indeed. Y'all keep it locked right where you got it. The Back in Time Mix Show is on deck right here on the Beat 105.5.